Um, Welcome everybody to our webinar series. Today what we're going to be covering is EyeQ's Perfectly Clear, their standalone application and how it can be used in the Blueprint and PhotoLynx software. I have Jeff joining me today here, as well as Sarah with the EyeQ Perfectly Clear team. And they're gonna go ahead and get us started and dive right on in and show us all these amazing things we can do with the Perfectly Clear apps.
Great, thank you so much, Kaylin. So hi everyone, I wanted to just start by introducing the company and who we are. So we are EyeQ, the creator of Perfectly Clear, and we are the world's leading provider of intelligent image correction used by businesses around the world. So our technology edits more than 35 million photos every single day. So we are doing more than 1 billion automatic corrections every year. And Kaylin already introduced Jeff and I, but in this webinar, we are going to go over a few things. So I'll give you the rundown now so you know what to expect. First, I'll tell you all about Perfectly Clear technology and what it can do. Then Jeff is going to give a product demo before telling you all about how you can use Perfectly Clear in your own workflow or products. And then we are really excited to tell you about our newest innovation, background balancing. Jeff is going to demo that as well, and then Kaylin will show you Perfectly Clear in the ImageQuix and PhotoLynx products. And we will also have time for questions at the end, so we will be answering all of those. So like I said, I'm Sarah, I'm the marketing manager at EyeQ, and I'm actually a very avid user of Perfectly Clear. I use our technology on a daily basis. I even use it in my personal photos. This was actually a photo that I took a few weeks ago while kayaking, and obviously it looks so much better after I ran it through Perfectly Clear. So here we have everything that Perfectly Clear can do. This is broken down into categories. So you'll see here that we have our core corrections, beautify, and creative enhancements. Our core corrections are meant to fix any issues that your photo might have. Oftentimes our cameras don't capture an image correctly, so we can fix that with these core corrections. Beautify can retouch portraits, and our creative enhancements are great for those looking to get a little creative with their photos. So now we can get into these corrections a little bit before you see it in action. So here's a great example of an underexposed image and what we did to fix it. When it comes to color restoration, we look at each pixel individually, so the restored color is very accurate. A lot of sharpening solutions make images flat and hard, but we strengthen the strong signals after analysis of an image, so soft focus areas remain soft. And here's our auto depth that can make your subject really pop. We can fix abnormal tint, and we can actually automatically detect if there is a tint issue. Sometimes our subjects seem flushed or their faces are too red, so we are able to remove the infrared tones on this woman, but you'll notice that we were able to keep the red in her clothing and her lipstick, which we want to continue. Our light diffusion can create that warm, soft glow without using an expensive light diffuser. And here you'll see that the noise on the arms and the background are removed. It's really important to also notice that the sharpness and details on leaves and face makeup have not been compromised. And here we have two types of digital color fidelity, standard and vivid. Cameras have a hard time capturing purples, and oftentimes they will come out as blue. So our digital color fidelity corrects that so your purples can really pop. And then here's the vivid digital color fidelity, which is great for things like landscapes. So now we're getting into our beautify options. The great thing about beautify is that if you want, you can control the amount of retouching. So we know retouching is not one size fits all. We give you a lot of options to use. So we're focusing on skin here. You get skin smoothing, shine removal, blemish removal, and skin toning. And then the next level focuses on the eyes. So we have automatic red eye removal. We can add a catch light to the eyes, enlarge them, and remove dark circles. And lastly, if you really want to get into the retouching, we can automatically slim the face, whiten teeth, and add blush. So we have all these makeup options for you to use. So now we're getting into some of my favorite creative enhancements. The first on our list is Sky Enhance, and this was made to make the blue sky really pop. And then on this slide, we have another example of our sky enhancement, but this time we use Magic Hour on a sunset. And then here's a great example of our foliage enhance. So similar to sky enhance, it can detect trees and greenery in your image to make the foliage really pop. So now I'm gonna let Jeff take it over from here and give you a little demo.
Hey guys, this is Jeff Stevens here. I'm the CTO over at EyeQ. Sarah, thanks for running through that little background. And Kaylin, Jordan, thanks for inviting us to this webinar. So I'm going to jump over and show you QuickDesk running live. I hope my screen is visible now. I've got QuickDesk up and a bunch of random images selected. These could be you know, a wedding shoot or a school event, whatever it might be. I'll go into the workflow options about how QuickDesk works a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to focus on the image correction technology itself. Sarah listed out a lot of different technology and corrections that we apply, both the core and then the beautify corrections and then the creative enhancements. And the important thing to realize is that almost all of these corrections are fully automatic. So for all the examples I have on screen now, I'm applying the same preset, the same corrections to all of them. Perfectly Clear analyzes each image, and if there are people in the image, it'll analyze each person separately and determine what corrections to apply. For example, in this image in the top left, it's a little bit dark and it's boosting the exposure. It's also boosting some of the color as well. This next image is also dark, but this landscape down here in the middle, you know, isn't quite as dark, so it doesn't get boosted quite as much. On this one in the bottom left, this is an interesting example of our face aware exposure. So that's controlled by this feature over here. So what we do is we analyze the exposure of the entire image, and then we also find the people in the image and analyze the exposure of their faces. The people are usually the focal point of the photo, so you want the face to be bright. In this example, the background is a little brighter, but her face is a little bit dark. So we need to do a little extra exposure enhancement to make sure her face is visible, as opposed to, you know, making the overall image nice, but keeping the face a little bit darker. I need to move my little webinar tool so I can navigate to the next set of images. When you open up QuickDesk, what it will do is process all of the images with whichever preset you've chosen. And that's what's happening here on these images. And I'm just applying our default iAuto 2019. So it does a great job on people, on portraits, on landscapes, all different kinds of content. But if you do want to come in and tune any of these corrections, all of the tools that Sarah was mentioning are listed over here on the right. You've got the exposure, and they're broken out into these various groups. So tone and color, details, these are all of our core corrections. These are about making the image look its best, nice and contrasty with a lot of pop, a lot of color saturation, whatever kinds of adjustments you want to do there. Below that, we have the face correction tools. Let me see if I can find some other images. Yeah, these are great beautify examples. This was actually the one from the presentation. You can see that Perfectly Clear has identified the face. It analyzes each person. So in this example, it finds the man and the woman separately and applies different corrections to them based on the preset you choose and the skin type, age, gender, and other factors that it determines about each person in the image. In this example, we've applied our Beautify preset, or we can actually even do the Beautify Plus. That's just a little bit more intense retouching. The Beautify is a good, safe set of defaults, though. It turns on our eye enhancement. Here, let me get this one image on screen a little bit bigger. So if I toggle the eye enhance on and off, you can see that it's making the eyes a little brighter and a little bit sharper, but it still looks very real and very natural. So very quickly, you can draw attention to the eyes. You can focus, you know, that attention in the image with just a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper eyes. you can also do this dark circle removal very quickly. It automatically determines if they're dark circles and how much. You can adjust the intensity of it if you want to, or you can just leave it at its default level. And it does a great job without having to, you know, open up Photoshop or do any airbrushing. We never even selected where the eyes were. All we did is open the image, apply the beautify preset, and it did what it needed to make the images look great. We also have the teeth whitening. You can make that kind of overly dramatic so you can see it over the webinar. But again, it's just one of those automatic corrections. It can be subtle, do just a little bit of enhancement without a lot of tweaking or tuning. And then the skin and face corrections, including that infrared removal. It's a little subtle in this image. Let me see if I can go back to my 6-up view. Oh, let me see, let me reopen Quick Desk. Here, let me just pull in all these examples again. Actually, there was a great example here of the red faces. So here's another example of the skin aware or the face aware exposure. With this feature turned off, the image in the background is kind of bright already, so it doesn't need to boost the exposure very much to make the background of the image bright. But the people are still a little bit dark. And they're the subject matter here. So with face aware exposure on, it finds the faces and says, okay, even though this image is already kind of bright, the faces are dark, so I'm going to boost the exposure a little bit more. You can see it move from an exposure of 83 with face aware off to really maxing it out, exposure of 150 with face aware exposure on. That's a great way to be able to use one preset on a huge range of images without needing to adjust every one, because the application itself is doing that. You can see it found the 3 faces, and if I come back down to our infrared removal, yeah, you can see it's just, these folks have been out in the sun a little bit, got a little bit rosy red, and the infrared removal just is able to take care of that for you. And we went through the other face aware beautify tools. We can look at these images a little bit for some of our non-people presets. Let me open this left panel here and I'll explain how these presets work. So perfectly clear applications include a wide array of different presets, but the most important ones are here in this group we're calling perfectly clear essentials. It has the eye auto that I was showing on all the other images. But then on these landscapes, you can sometimes do different presets that are a little bit more high contrast, a little bit more color pop. They can start to look a little unnatural if you have people in your photos, but they're great on these outdoor images. Very easy to give you, beautiful looking images without a lot of tweaking and tuning or doing masks or selections. So I think that's a quick run through of the image corrections. Let me pop back over to the presentation. And I'll explain a little bit about how the perfectly clear technology works and how we bundle it into various applications. Around the outside, you'll see all the different ways that we at EyeQ package our core technology and make it available to either in photographers in Quick Desk, which is what I was just showing, or into an SDK that gets embedded in products like Blueprint and PhotoLynx. And so it's the exact same tools running in our standalone applications or that we license to companies to embed in their products. The Perfectly Clear is made up generally of 2 parts: the image correction platform itself, that includes the core corrections, the beautify corrections, the creative filters, and then other tools like image resizing, color management, metadata management, all of the other kind of tools that are necessary to make a full photo workflow. And then on top of that, we've layered this, this new and expanding category of tools that we're calling the AI tools. They're not all powered by artificial intelligence. Some are, some aren't. But the idea is to gain some knowledge about what's in the image or how you might want to be using them, and use that to affect the perfectly clear corrections to give you the best overall looking image. The first way we deployed this was our clip art detection. We have a bunch of companies that are using us for photo books. And so if you're correcting every image that's in a photo book, most of them are going to be photos, but some of them aren't. Some of them are, you know, labels or badges or logos or icons or other kinds of clip art that aren't photographic in nature. And when someone has an image that is a logo or icon, something like that, they don't want the colors corrected or adjusted at all. They've already chosen that image and they want to just bypass the correction process at all. So with our clip art detection, we're able to determine what is a photo and what is a digital image but isn't a photo, and skip processing on those, but do the normal processing on all the rest of the images. We're expanding that to be able to detect different kinds of content, landscapes or people or babies, and tune the corrections based on the actual content within the image. That's just another way we're trying to make the tool more automated, more robust, and give you a better looking image with less work. The other major feature we built in just recently is background balancing. So this is specifically designed for the SPAC yearbook market. If you're shooting kids or taking photos of kids, I should say, for yearbooks, you want to make sure all the backgrounds are as identical as possible. One darker or lighter background really stands out on the page and will make that kid stand out compared to the rest of the people in the class. So the goal is nice, even backgrounds that all look the same. A lot of yearbook photographers will either shoot on you know, an auto exposure mode, or, you know, with different modes where people with different shirts, lighter or darker, different skin tone, get exposed slightly differently. And that makes the background either be a slightly brighter or slightly darker. So we built this technology to correct all the people in the photos using a perfectly clear core correction, correct the background as well to make it bright and make the people look their best. But then we segment the foreground from the background. We analyze all the backgrounds and pick an average exposure and color for that background, and then reprocess all the images, but only in the background, so that we take away those differences and slight variations in background. So when you lay out your yearbook, all the images look great. It's completely automatic. You can tweak and tune it like all of Perfectly Clear's tools, but it's designed to be automatic and really fast. So let me jump back over to QuickDesk, and I will show this in action. And I'll also show a little bit about the QuickDesk workflow. One of the things we've done with QuickDesk is we put all of the file management and sort of order configuration stuff up front. So you choose what folder of images you want to use. We will enable background balancing for this. You specify where you want to put the corrected images, how you want to handle the original files, what preset to apply when you get started. So this puts all that decision work up front, and then once you open the job, you don't have to think about where the images are coming from or where they're being saved to or what file format. All of that is being taken care of automatically. So it's just another little step to make your workflow really fast. So here I've opened this sort of pseudo yearbook shoot. This was from the SPAC trade show a couple of years ago. And Perfectly Clear is being applied to all the images. You can see the before and after. I'll lock my little slider here so they all move together. So those are the originals. That's Perfectly Clear. Eyes are brighter, exposure's better. All the images look great, but you can see some variation in the backgrounds. This one down here is a little grayer. This one up here is a little more pink or magenta. If we scroll down and open up our background balancing tool, what we'll do is I'll just click apply. This turns on the process. And down here in the bottom, you can see that it's working. What it's doing is segmenting the people from the backgrounds, analyzing all of the backgrounds to find a good average color to apply. And you can see the previews just appear there. and they all corrected the background without affecting the foreground. So this is a great way to get nice balanced backgrounds, but still have all the people bright, well exposed, good color, very, very quickly. There's some different options over here on the right that you can use to tune the background. Deviation and exposure, these are used for all the images. Deviation is how far from exactly average you want all the images to be. If you want them to be within one pixel RGB pixel value from one another, you can set this to 0. Having it a little bit higher is good on images with very different backgrounds. If you have a lot of varied content, then this makes a little bit of difference in individual backgrounds still apply in the output. And so that can be a little bit more natural looking. You can turn off the corrections for individual images, you can tune the settings, but it's all very fast and designed to give you great looking yearbooks with the least amount of work. All right, let me pop back over to the presentation. Already did that. See how ahead of the game we are here? And I think that sums it up here. Sarah, let me know if I missed anything. Otherwise, we can hand it back to Kaylin and Jordan.
Yeah, I think it's time for Kaylin.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. I'll go ahead and grab screen control here and share my screen with you guys. Perfect. Well, thank you, Jeff and Sarah. That was so awesome and informative. It's really amazing the technology you guys have come up with. It blows my mind. I know that ideally everyone would love to get the perfect picture at the point of capture, but realistically, you can't always do that, or you can't do that. And having tools that go as quickly as your guys' apps do to get that quality in the images is really incredible. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, now that we've kind of gone through the standalone app and what Perfectly Clear is and how it works, I'm going to show you guys how this plugs into the PhotoLynx and ImageQuix programs. I'm going to go ahead and start with ImageQuix Blueprint while we're here. So what we're going to do when you want to be able to access this feature inside of Blueprint, you're going to go ahead and open up your job, the job that we've captured in here. You're going to go to your Images tab, Edit Images, where you have all your other editing options here. Right here on this Retouch tab, you're going to be able to auto start your retouching here. This is going to automatically do the beautify, noise reduction, and red eye removal. And this again is a very quick process. You go ahead and get this started. Obviously, once you start it, you want to let it finish before you try canceling anything. And that's essentially it. It's a really quick, easy, automatic process to run through to get all these images beautiful inside of Blueprint. We also have the ability to do these same features inside of PhotoLynx Auto Head Sizing. So in the PhotoLynx Auto Head Sizing, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a facial recognition cropping tool. So as it's cropping your images, you can also have it apply your perfectly clear settings. And you can set that up by going into your file settings and just defining exactly which perfectly clear settings you would like it to apply. So just like in Blueprint, you can also choose which one we'd like it to auto do. Now you're not individually adjusting pictures in here. This is just a bulk retouch, but it's a very quick automated process here. Once we have that on and you have your crop set and auto head sizing, you'll go ahead and export it out, export your cropped copies, and you're gonna end up with your separate folder. So here's my original and my cropped copies here. So these cropped ones are gonna have my perfectly clear settings in here and compared to the originals. In fact, I'll go ahead and show Chad's handsome face here where we can really see that it's a nice subtle but perfect adjustment there. So you'll see as we kind of flip through some of our team members here, these are really, they look great. It's impressive, quick, really easy to do. From there with the auto head sizing, those cropped copies with your retouching applied, can be brought back into whatever PhotoLynx app it is that you're using, whether either that be Flow or Click Match or Image Match even, we're able to bring these images in. So it's a really incredible and powerful tool to allow you to get the automation and these gorgeous images. So this is kind of a quick summary of how this is going to plug into the PhotoLynx and ImageQuix apps. If you guys would like any more information on this, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I have our contact info listed right up here. So don't hesitate to ask. I do want to remind everyone that we are going to open the floor up for questions here. You'll see at the bottom of the screen a Q&A icon. If you click on that, feel free to add your question in there, and we'll be going through those.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Kaylin. And I see a few questions are trickling in. And like Kaylin said, now is the time to ask. We'll try to get to as many as we can. So I'll just start out here. Let's see. So our first question today will be, I want to use a set of corrections on all my images, so I need it to look great on many different types of photos. Can I do that, and how?
Sorry, I started to answer the question and then realized I was on mute. Yeah, it's a good question. With Perfectly Clear, so in the little demo, I was starting all of my images with our iAuto 2019 preset. In the PhotoLynx and ImageQuix tools, by default, that's what's being applied there as well. It's a very conservative, but still very good level of correction. It's a good balance between doing a lot of correction and being very conservative so that it applies to lots of different images. So that's a very safe place to start. As Sarah mentioned at the very beginning of our presentation, we correct millions and millions of photos every day in fully automated workflows where people aren't even reviewing them. It's just image being sent to our SDK or through one of our customers' tools and automatically corrected. You can tune those presets any way you want. You can be a little more conservative, a little more aggressive. You can turn off the beautify tools entirely if you want to. You can apply noise by default if you want to, and then save those settings and apply those to large batches of photos. Typically when we work with our business customers, our large licensees, we'll go through a process with them of tuning the presets for the kinds of photos that they're using, and if they're a printout fit, also what kind of hardware they'll be printing on, dye-sub or indigos or silver halide or different kinds of technology to make sure that the correction is robust and fast and looks great on the broadest array of images.
Great, thank you so much, Jeff. And it looks like we have a question for Kaylin. We've had a few pricing questions about Blueprint. So is there a per image cost for using Perfectly Clear in Blueprint, or is Perfectly Clear even an additional cost at all?
Perfectly Clear is going to be either it's going to be turned on or off. In the Blueprint software, it's going to be built into the auto head size software. We're going to actually be posting the pricing for that for both the auto head sizing and for turning it on in Blueprint with this webinar video up on our MVP or Master Volume Photography website. So we will be posting that afterwards. I don't have exact numbers right now.
Great, thank you so much. And then Jeff, this one is for you. We're having some questions about the pricing of background balancing. So if you were to use the background balancing tool, at what point would you be charged, and how would you be charged, and how much would you be charged?
Yeah, good question. Right now, we launched this tool to correct yearbooks exactly when all schools in North America shut down. So it wasn't great timing to roll out this technology in the market with the COVID crisis going on. So what we did is we made it free for all of our customers for right now. So you can use it, you can run it through yearbook photos that you might have already shot but haven't had time to process yet, or just experiment with it. So it's entirely free. It's built into our Quick Desk application. Any of the versions that we've put out since, I think, February or so, we're always rolling out new versions. When this sort of trial COVID, try it for free period expires It will be 10 cents an image. So if you use it, if you enable it on an image and actually process it, then at the end of a month, we'll tally up those images and we'll bill you for that at 10 cents an image. We've got some FAQs on our site about how to set that up, and feel free to contact us with more details if you want to start kicking the tires there, do that demo process, and get ready for full-time production in the fall.
It is also included in our free trial of QuickDesk. So if you wanted to just try it out, then that will automatically be enabled there, I believe. Right, Jeff?
Yep, that's right. Good point.
Perfect. So now we have another question. How about people with freckles? Will those disappear, or do we get to keep little things like that?
Yeah, the skin smoothing and blemish removal tools are very natural. The corrections are not nearly as aggressive or sort of plasticky as some of the other tools. So yes, freckles will stay, beauty marks. You can turn off the skin smoothing or blemish removal entirely if you want to keep those, do no correction in that area. By default, our iAuto does do a very small amount of both skin smoothing and blemish removal. The Beautify turns those up a little bit more, and then Beautify Plus does a little bit more. But the point of our corrections and the way we try to tune them is such that once the person gets the photo and actually is looking through their photo album, it looks like them, right? It's not, you didn't just go so crazy with the airbrushing and the retouching to say, like, this is what needed to happen to make this a great image. We try to be very conservative, very real looking, and nice conservative corrections.
Definitely. And as just a personal user myself, there's a correction called, I believe, Rugged. And I actually use that on men. So any family photos with my dad or anything like that. Usually men don't really like to be retouched too much, but it ends up looking really, really great. So another question that we have is, should I use QuickDesk instead of just ImageQuix and or PhotoLynx? Do I need both?
I can start answering that. Kaylin, jump in if you want to add anything. The short answer is no. You don't need QuickDesk. You can absolutely use the tools built into PhotoLynx or ImageQuix. It's the same technology, so you'll get the same great looking results. If you want to fiddle with the images a little bit more, if you want to tweak and tune, if you want to make your own presets, that's what QuickDesk would be good for. If what you're after is a very quick, very robust, integrated solution, so you don't have to download a new application, then you don't need QuickDesk at all. It's built right in. So yeah, you can kind of have it any way you want it.
Yep, I would echo that exactly. It all completely depends on how much you would like to individually customize images to decide where or how much of each app you're going to need.
Great. And then this is probably very similar, but regarding the Blueprint add-on, is the idea to use Blueprint to process an entire photo shoot instead of the QuickDesk application, or do you think there's room for both?
I guess I'll start with that as well. Yeah, I think there's definitely room for both. It's very similar to the last question. If all of your images are, if you want to review the correction for every image and tweak and tune the presets, then QuickDesk will give you that ability. You'll have all the bells, all those sliders that I was just showing. If you don't need that level of customization or tuning, if you're doing really high volume and you just can't review every photo, you just don't need to, then using it built into ImageQuix would be totally sufficient.
Correct. And while it's built into ImageQuix, you can define whether you want it. Basically, it should respect whatever filter you're on. So if you only want it to retouch specific images, you can do that, or it can do the entire job.
Great. Thank you so much. So another question that we have is, can Perfectly Clear process raw files, and what types of image files can it process?
Yeah, it supports JPEGs, TIFFs, PNGs, and RAW files. RAW files aren't as generic as like TIFFs or JPEGs. A JPEG is a JPEG largely. For RAW file, we provide support for specific camera models. So not all RAW files are supported. As new cameras come out, we have to build in support for those cameras. So there is a little bit of delay between new cameras coming to market and those raw files for those cameras being provided. But yeah, we do support raw files. There's a list of them on our website. So if we have an email address for that person that asked that question, we can follow up with exactly what cameras we support after the webinar.
Perfect. And also just want to jump in on that same question and let everyone know that in the Blueprint and PhotoLynx software, when you're bringing the images in there, those are typically going to be JPEGs or PNGs and not the raw files in those applications. So when you run the Perfectly Clear application or tool inside of the PhotoLynx or ImageQuix applications, that's going to be on JPEGs or PNGs.
Great, thank you both. And it looks like we have time for only a few more questions. So if you do have questions, now is definitely the time to ask, and we'll try to follow up with everyone afterwards if we don't get to your questions. But maybe one last question now is, do I have to use the presets you provide, or can I create my own?
Yeah, good question. In QuickDesk or any of the Perfectly Clear tools, we give you a bunch of presets as starting points, but yeah, absolutely. You can tune and tweak these any way you need to get the exact results that you want. For the implementation that's built into Blueprint and PhotoLynx, there are those options that Kaylin was showing. So the default correction, or the beautify features, or the noise removal or red eye correction. So those are affecting the correction that's being provided by Perfectly Clear, but you don't get the individual sliders and you can't pick your own preset. But it's a very robust set of tools that provide, yeah, like the images that Kaylin was showing. Great looking images very, very quickly.
Great. Well, I think that we are wrapping up now. That seems like the last of our questions.
Perfect. And just like Sarah said, if we didn't get to your question, we do have a list of all the questions, and we will be reaching out to you personally to answer those, as well as this whole demonstration and webinar was recorded and will be posted up on the mastervolumephotography.com website, where you can see all the other webinars that we've posted as well as this pricing that I mentioned we were going to be posting for you guys. Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, then, thank you, Jeff and Sarah, so much. This was a wonderful webinar. We really appreciate you guys, and it's been such a pleasure having you guys as a partner and working with you guys. We're super excited to introduce you to the whole PhotoLynx and ImageQuix team, and we look forward to doing more with you guys and getting this going.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for having us. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you so
Excellent.
much.
All right, well, thanks everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.